Hi, my name is Hannah Fields Heiligman. I am 24 years old. I'm currently pursuing a degree in physician assistant studies at UT Health San Antonio. I am a graduate from O'Connor High School. I graduated in 2012 and played volleyball and softball. Going back to elementary school, I went to St. Luke Catholic School. I went there from kindergarten all the way to 8th grade, and then I went to O'Connor, and then I went to St. Mary's University here in San Antonio for my undergraduate degree, where I got a degree in chemistry with a minor in biology and mathematics, and then am now pursuing my degree in physician assistant studies. Along the way, I played sports throughout my whole entire life. It started at a young age with my mom being a softball and volleyball coach. She started out her career at Taft High School, where she helped out with the volleyball program and the softball program. And so when I was born, I was running around riding my bicycle there while she was practicing, and then she transitioned to St. Mary's when I was about 4 years old. And again, I followed her there and was still riding my bicycle, reading books, not really paying attention to sports. And it wasn't until my brother came along that I decided to pick up a ball and play around with him, play with my mom, play with my dad. And when I entered elementary school, I then played every CYO sport possible, from soccer, volleyball, basketball, track, whatever they had, that's what I played. And then entering middle school, I transitioned to playing all the sports again, except I eliminated one with soccer. And that just seemed like the norm for me. I was always playing sports. That's what my family did. I grew up doing that. Didn't really have a passion for one over the other. I just liked getting outside, playing with people, competing, and just getting away from school in general and all the stresses of life. When I was transitioning from middle school to high school, I was having to make the decision whether I continue in the private institutions or if I go into a public institution. And I decided to go to O'Connor because that was the district I was living in. And it seemed a lot easier to drive 10 minutes to school than 50 minutes. And I just wanted a new adventure, new beginnings for me. And so I attended the athletic camps in the summer, which included volleyball and basketball. And I went to those, met a few people, decided I was going to try out for volleyball. So I tried out for volleyball, loved it, made new friendships, and went through the season. I told my mom I still wanted to play basketball. The coaches were kind of like, not going to happen. The seasons overlap. So I decided to just stick to volleyball and softball, which ended up being great because the amount of hours you put in for each sport took a lot of time from everything. In high school, I participated in volleyball and softball all 4 years that I was there. And some of the positives in my career there, for volleyball, we made playoffs all 4 years. I believe we were district champions all 4 years that I was there, except my senior year. We were co-champions with Brandeis and Warren, and eventually went into a playoff and had to figure out who ended up taking first, second, and third, and we came out on top, which was a positive note for us. In softball, my freshman and sophomore, junior, senior year, we lost all 4 years to the state champion team, which is very, in some respects, a good feeling, and then other respects it was kind of disheartening. But my junior and senior year, we went to state both years, which was very exciting. We were able to compete against several Northside teams along the way through the playoff run. And my junior year, made it to the state game and lost to the Woodlands. And my senior year, we fell short during the semifinal game against Collins. And following my senior year at O'Connor, I pursued volleyball and softball and my academics at St. Mary's University, where I played volleyball for my freshman year and then continued on with softball all 4 years that I was there. Softball, we were very, very successful all 4 years again that I was there, making it to the regional finals all 4 years, and just falling short a couple of the years. My junior year in particular was very exciting for us as a team. We were able to overcome injuries, we were able to overcome failures and setbacks along the way and made it to the World Series in Oklahoma City. Did not come out on top, but it was a good experience overall. And along the way, we had lots of successes on the individual level and as a team, but those were the most exciting moments of my career, was being able to play at the highest level in both divisions in high school, going to the state tournament, and then eventually going to the national tournament in college. So for my most memorable moments of high school, and really just athletics overall in general, was growing up, having a mom as a coach and a supportive family that always attended my games and was always there, but then also the coaches along the way. You know, everyone talks about how you have that one coach that made this impact in your life. Well, for me, it was several coaches, and in particularly the coaches that I had throughout my high school career. Coach Yami Garcia, Coach Shepner, Coach Lewis, Coach Garza, Coach Vav, and Coach Driffel, and all the other O'Connor coaches, and particularly all the Northside coaches. I mean, it's a huge family here in Northside. But one thing in particular for me is the coaches at O'Connor, yes, they wanted us to compete. They wanted us to do good then and now. But they also were worried about our success in the future and where we were going to go from there and on after high school, after we finished here at O'Connor. They wanted us to grow as individuals. And for me, they always instilled that us in our practice. They always wanted the best from us. And they always told us to believe in ourselves, believe in one another, believe in the team, believe in the name across your chest and for what you're playing for. Know why you're playing for it and what you're going to do from there. And one memory in particular, though there's several memories that I'll cherish in my years as an athlete at O'Connor, was my senior year, and Coach Garza did this every single game when we entered playoffs, but particularly my senior year, we were heading to the state tournament. We had just finished our last practice, and he had us line up along the outfield foul line, along the fence, one by one, right next to one another as a team. And he told us to look at the field one last time and look at the girl standing right next to you. And in that moment, you don't realize as a high school student exactly what he means, but it reminded me, and I look back now, it reminded me to focus on the then and the now. Focus on what your goals are in life. Focus on who you're doing them with, who's right beside you, and what's most important in that time. And for me, that was a turning point in my career. It was hard for me because I knew it was the last time I would be looking at that field because it was my senior year, but it allowed me to take in and enjoy every moment for what it's worth. As I looked as my teammates side by side by me, and I looked at that field and I looked at my coaches, I knew that I was going somewhere. Whether I was going to go win the state championship with my teammates or not, I knew that I had gained experiences from playing athletics in high school. I knew I had gained new relationships. I had grown up as an individual. I had learned so much about myself and about the game of life. You know, athletics in general, you take so much away from it. It's not just about that one out. It's not about that one play. It's not about the game or that one point, etc., etc. It's so much more than that. And it's hard to put into words exactly what you can take away from athletics because it's an accumulation of things. And for me, though I'm still pursuing my career and I'm still in the classroom learning to pursue my future as a physician assistant and to better the community in many ways, I feel like I've learned and touched so many lives just through my experience as a student athlete. I've learned through athletics, I've learned better time management skills, and I've been able to share those time management skills with my fellow classmates. And one thing is I would tell them, I was so used to getting home from a 7 p.m. game that would finish at 11 p.m. at night and still having to do 3 hours worth of homework, and I would do it. I would get home from my game and go home, study, do as much as I can, wake up again the next morning, get to school early, do what I needed to do, and then from there focus on whatever was thrown at me that day, from classroom work to softball work, volleyball, whatever it may be. I had to manage my time wisely, and that came with prioritizing my the most important things throughout my day. And for me, I always knew that because we were sat down in high school with our coaches and Mr. Cliff Dugash, and he had us write down on a note card, what are your 5 points in life that are the number one priority to you? And I still carry that note card with me to this day. It's my family, my faith, my peers, my classwork, and my career. And in life, you have to have priorities. You have to have those things that keep you going. And for me, those number one things are my family and my faith and those around me. And so for me, it's taught me to time management, prioritize. It's helped me with communication, to help me be familiar and build strong relationships. I mean, as an athlete, you are constantly focused on team. It's not an individual. And that was very apparent in high school and really throughout my whole career as a student athlete. You're never going to be successful with just me. It takes a team. And that's anything in life. You can't do everything by yourself. And I'm learning that in school as well, in the medical field. You are a team. You're working with one another, not just you and the nurses and the other providers and the staff, but also the patients. You're working as a team to make sure you're doing what you need to get the best possible outcome. And that's how it is as a student athlete. You are working one-on-one together. You're going to fail together. You're going to succeed together. You're going to go over the humps together. But in the end, you're a team. You're not 10, 12, 60 individuals on that team. It's one. And that includes the coaches, that includes the fans, that includes the whole student body. And I got a lot of that at Northside, especially with our O'Connor student body. I'll never forget my senior year. We were playing Combs for the regional final game, and to look up into the stands and see the student body from football team, volleyball team, baseball team, tennis teams, you name every sport, including just regular student body that wanted to be involved and cheer for us and support us, and just the feeling of a family. That's how it was. And being a student athlete, you have that family throughout. And when you leave, you're no longer a student athlete. You can take that family aspect and you can use that to grow in your career, whatever it may be. And that's a huge, important thing to be successful in life. You learn how to overcome, and I know I mentioned that several times, and that includes being a teammate. But you learn to overcome adversity. You learn to overcome downfalls in life. You learn to build on your successes and overcome any failures that you may cross. And you don't really realize that when you're playing sports, because you're just focused on the game. You're focused on that at-bat or that drive or whatever it may be. You're focused on then and now. But if you really step away from the game and look at yourself and be like, okay, I'm struggling in this part of my life. And if you relate it to the classroom, for me as a student right now, I'm struggling with this, and that. if I just take a step back and go back to me as a student athlete, what I did day in and day out, I did repetition, work on the little things, batting, slapping, bunting. It was repetition after repetition, improving each and every day, whether it's a fraction or a huge milestone of improvement. I worked every single day, day in and day out. And that's what you do throughout life. As a student, as an employee, wherever you may be, you're going to have your downfalls. And it's important to recognize those downfalls and recognize the deficits, but also know that you can succeed from those. And that takes work. It takes repetition and practice to overcome whatever it may be. And being a student athlete has definitely allowed me to come within myself, calm myself down, and focus on what I need to overcome whatever failure I may be facing. It's allowed me to build on my successes, and what I mean by that is don't ever be satisfied. You may be the most successful team in a district, you may be the most successful player on the field, but that doesn't mean you stop there. You should continuously work day in and day out to get better, because there's always somewhere that you have to make improvements. And I take that for me now. You take a test at the end of a course and you feel like you aced it. Well, yes, you aced it, but did you get 100? Do you still know all the material? So there's always room for improvement, and that goes for anything. When you get in life, you start having a family, you start having a career for yourself. Where are areas of improvement that you can work on as an individual to make the overall family, the overall workspace a better environment? And overall, just my character as a human being. I am indebted to all the coaches, all the teachers that have come along the way in my career to where I am now. I go back as far as my elementary school years. I still run into teachers when I see them at little festivals and church events. And then I run into my O'Connor family all the time, especially with my husband being there and my brother and sister going through O'Connor as well. And then my St. Mary's family. You learn so much from those individuals, and they're there to support you. They still reach out to me, and that has helped me continue to grow as an individual, because I know I have people there to support me throughout the way. And me as a character overall, I have found my balance in life from being a student athlete. I know how to time manage my schoolwork with my family, how to prepare for the life ahead of me. I've overcome so much being a student athlete. I've overcome several failures. I've built on so many successes, and I'm still building and learning and growing as an individual from all of it. And so for me, athletics, and my main point with being a student athlete, is the fact that it's so much more than just a game. It's a true accumulation of life lessons. It's a true learning experience, a character builder. You learn so much about yourself and can gain so much from being a student athlete. And everyone's experience is different, but I can guarantee you that every student athlete that has played any athletic competition, it's more than just a competition. You get a lot out of it. And being a student athlete is only temporary, but the learning experiences and the things you acquire from being a student athlete is lifelong, and that will allow you to carry and build and learn from throughout life.